Hello, I'm Penelope Mavor, and welcome to Earth Converse podcast, an exploration into our relationships and conversations with the earth, all in the hope of inspiring a deeper connection with ourselves, each other, and the earth that is our home. And I'm just delighted to have Katrien Deboutte here with me. She is cooling outside, and I met Kat in the Living and Dying course in Spain last year, and I was just really struck by this woman's wisdom and journey. And I'm going to post her introduction, and we'll follow that in the conversation, because she'll talk about the relationships with the earth from her parents, and there's a moment in Sardinia which was quite profound, and then we'll go into her mission and her beautiful offerings to the world. So, buenos dias, Katia. How are you? Where are you? Give us a location.
Hey, Penelope, super nice to see you. Nice to connect. So I'm sitting here outside of my wooden cabin in Kurkum Farm in Spain, in the Spanish countryside, where I've been living now since for 8 years. I'm from Belgium originally. My family's in Belgium, and I live here with my partner and her son, and usually also many different people who come here, coming and going, living with us for a little while and learning here in this magical place.
I want to visit. I want to come over and hang out with you.
Very welcome. Very welcome.
So Kat, what is your relationship with the earth, and how has that evolved? Over to you. Tell us your story.
Yeah, I think my relationship with the earth, with nature, has always been quite intimate since the beginning, and natural and obvious somehow. I could say it's an intimate love relationship right now. But also I feel like a guardian towards the earth and a caretaker. And at the same time, sometimes I just feel like a child of the earth as well. And
in what way?
Yeah, like sometimes I just like to surrender into the beauty and into the care and the guidance and the magic, the mystery of nature, you know. When I was a child, for me the nature was also like a refuge, really. I mean, it still is, but like that, when I was younger, I didn't understand many things, and I couldn't understand really the world that I found myself in, and why people behaved as they were behaving. I didn't feel very much identified with it, and in nature I kind of felt much more relaxed and home. Like it was easier somehow to be there. And I remember just going out of my home and going into this little piece of forest that we had near our house, and being there and just feeling home, feeling belonging.
How old were you at the time?
I think that must have been around, like, from maybe I was 7, 8 or something, that I started to be able just to go off on my own and be a bit more autonomous. But actually, since I was very, very young, my parents also really cultivated our relationship with nature. Like they kind of just took us always out on the mountain journeys, and they loved to walk, really. My parents were like mountains, walk, forest, like the south of Belgium. We used to go there almost every year, rent a little house in the countryside, and just every day we'd go for walks. And that was like a real blessing for me, just to have experienced so much nature all the time, every holiday, you know. The only thing, there was one thing that I didn't like, that I felt different with my parents, was that they always kind of kept walking, and I felt like the need to just stop and be like, kind of during the years when I grew a bit older, I kind of found a way to convince them to just stop for a moment and find a place to chill. And that was really cool. Also, we kind of developed a different way of being in nature as well together. And when we were a little bit older, they took us even on like backpacking trekkings and stuff. So we even went to the Algerian desert and like a bit more wild
Oh, beautiful.
and exotic places, and I'm really thankful to them for that. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful foundation. But I love this sort of sense of, because quite often we just walk through, don't we? We just keep going and we do so much, but to stop and wait and just to be in nature is something else, and introducing that to them.
Yeah, I remember those
Yeah.
moments when they were like going really fast and I was like behind looking at things and taking pictures, and then I started crying. Like when I was really small, I started crying because they were kind of like going too far.
Yeah, I see that now. I see actually with families, you know, taking kids up and they're sort of, you know, wanting to explore and you know, and then the parent, come on, and there's tears. But this sort of sense of, you know, like not understanding things. And so when was that it was sort of like the refuge part of it? Yeah,
that was really my childhood, and maybe as a lesson too. I think my adolescent time was the most difficult one, where I struggled with the idea of school and the idea of having to do things that I didn't really feel like doing, and not really being challenged in the things that I was passionate about. And then, yeah, when I was then a bit older, I was luckily discovering the freedom of traveling and discovering new places, and being more autonomous really allowed me to connect in a deeper way. Yeah.
And what was that connection? Were there particular moments?
Well, so yeah, I think there's been several like very key moments in my life where I discovered a different way of relating with nature, and like integrating it more in my life. And I think one of those moments was when I met a group of people who were organizing like little festivals in the nature during the equinox and solstice moments, and they made music and they were super creative and beautiful people, and that was really special for me because I felt also belonging to a group of people that I identified with, and that I also got really inspired by, to be able to co-create with nature, you know, and to play in nature as humans, and be together and celebrate those moments of transition. And that was one important moment. And then another moment.
Just on that, like, is it like they're interacting with nature in a different way, and also the sense of belonging with a community that was like-minded, that was feeling the same connection?
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's also around the time that I started to garden and to learn about cultivating food, and when I learned to work with wood and things like, you know, to interact with the material world in a different way, not just through books. And
really feeling it.
And another moment was when I finished my studies. I studied psychology, and after that I did 1 year master of cultures and development, which is more like an anthropological study, through which I was also introduced to permaculture. But after the studies, I went to Sardinia, which is a beautiful island next to Italy, where I was invited by a friend to do some grape picking and stay at his place. And so when we did that, we finished the grape picking. I kind of went in the mountains every day on my own. Like, he was just kind of doing his thing and busy with other stuff, and I was like, okay, I'm just going then, you know, like using the opportunity. And I was also really on that moment, like, after studying, and now what, you know, what am I gonna do with my life, with this, with all that I've learned, and what is it that I want? So it was actually very appropriate. And I went, from the morning till the evening. I was always in the forest. In the evening I went to eat at his mother's place, who always prepared so loving Italian perfect food. But so it wasn't a fast or anything, but it was really a different meeting of the healing powers of nature, and also the information that I could access when I was there, spending so many hours on my own. I started to see all the patterns, and I started to receive messages and converse with the animals, and sleep in the cave, and just like, I don't know, it was a very special time. And I also really received a vision there. Like I could see suddenly, and I wrote it everything down, what I was going to do in this life and what I'm actually doing now. Which in that moment it wasn't at all present yet, but I just saw children and I saw a place in nature. Somewhere in another country, I saw that many people would come and go and learn. And yeah, I saw that I wanted to bring the things that I found there also to other people, you know, like I didn't want to be a psychologist just talking to people. I wanted to bring people into nature and have them find out for themselves these inspiring messages and the information they need really to continue their lives in a more authentic way, and to find their purpose, and to find healing, and yeah, to feel home really, because in the end that's all that we are looking for, no? This connection, this feeling of being part of something, and having a place in there.
And you've made, so you had that profound vision through that
Yep.
experience that you've actually, implemented in your life. Yeah, so you had that in Sardinia. So was that the first time you had been solo in a deep way? Like, what made it? Was it the, you know, how did that time come about? You've got your friend, you're with your friend, you're orientating towards that. Like he was doing his own thing, going out to the nature. But was there? It sounds like it was just an evolving thing, and you just spent more and deeper time in there. And then, so it wasn't sort of even an intention to go out. It was just sort of really a natural relationship or falling in love.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Mm.
It was calling me, and because I didn't really know anybody there. I didn't have any other responsibilities, but I had some money that I just earned, and I had time because I didn't really have, somewhere to go to. So it was just like using the space, and going where the call was taking me. And yeah, in that moment, I had never even heard about vision fasts, or I didn't even know these things, but it was just kind of naturally unfolding into happen. Yeah, it happened.
And that's really lovely, isn't it? Like, because it's the ancient, human need to go out. It was just a natural in your subconscious and your deep soul to naturally go out and have that, yeah, the vision quest and the vision fast. Vision fast with a great Sardinian food.
It was a luxury one, yeah.
What a bonus. Yeah. And do you want to say anything more about that experience, or even the conversations, the particular conversations, and then we'll go into the actual, yeah.
I remember that it was kind of really spontaneous, and in the beginning I followed the path, and then I went off the path, and I started to just follow my intuition and where it took me, and follow the tracks of the animals, and climb into the trees, and then find myself surrounded with ants, and like listening what they were saying, what, with just their being, with their presence. And there was a beautiful cave which looked like the mouth of a bear, and I used to go there too, and I used to sit there and just look over the landscape, which was really precious. And sometimes I would just, yeah, fall asleep there, and be
Mm.
without, there was not really a goal to it in itself, but there
Yeah,
was such a big gift afterwards.
yeah, and so aware and alert, and in the mouth of a bear. Yeah, wow. And so from that, But there's, if you want to talk about, are there other experiences around that? Because then we'll go into the vision in your life, that how that's unfolded.
Yeah, it was. I think the most important was that I received that message that I could be, that I saw what I could be, because suddenly I discovered that, okay, I don't have to be a psychologist as they taught me it has to be, and I could, like, in that moment I called it a nature psychologist because I just didn't have a word for it. Like, I didn't know how could I conceptualize what I wanted to be, because I didn't know anybody who did that. But that came, and I wrote it down, and it was just, it was there, and from there it just started to materialize into my life, and I started to meet people who were doing it, and I learned about the Vision Quest, and I learned about, and I went to do it, and I started to find tools and to learn about indigenous ceremony and ways of really connecting myself and create spaces for other people to connect.
And
to connect with nature, with themselves, with others, with the whole.
Your own Vision Quest. You said you did it. Is there anything there that you want to share?
Yeah, it was profound. It was one of the experiences that really shapes you, no? That from the moment I did it, I also knew that I wanted to guide it and give this gift, this create a space for other people to facilitate this place for people to experience this. And I've done 3 fasts in my life, and each one has been so completely different. And what I noticed mostly is that so the Vision Fast, it's for the people who don't know what it is. It's a moment where you go to the nature, to the wild nature, and you just kind of stay there in one spot for 3 days or 4 days and nights with minimal shelter and no distractions, and you just connect with yourself and with nature in a totally interrelated way. You start seeing how the outer nature is a mirror for your inner world, and all the things that happen are messages and information that you can use to find clarity and guidance for your life and for your path. And it's a sacrifice as well. It's a moment where you actually lay down your comfort and you lay down the things that you build up to make yourself like the masks or the roles that you take up in society, and you just kind of lay these down for a moment and go out there as a bear, as a simple being, kneeling down in humility, asking for gifts, and this is really what I think is very important to learn for people, that when you start going into nature with intention, that you receive so much back when you go out with a clear question, or with a real purpose to, for example, let go something or find clarity about a specific issue, or really mark a moment in your life where you want to make a change. Then nature helps you and guides you to do that, and really reaffirms somehow this act of power that you kind of came to do. But yeah, it's the perfect place and the perfect medicine for this kind of moments of life where you just like really want to make a difference. And the intention is really important. I noticed through my different solos, I think each time my intention was more clear, and each time my gifts were even greater, you know, like the what I asked for, I got. So if I dared to ask more, I also received more. Yeah.
Yeah, there's really that power of intention and attention, isn't that? That's a real, seems to be a theme, like your experience of going out in Sardinia, like the subconscious and sort of the sense of, you know, where am I? I've just finished my studies and what am I going to do? But then the explicitness of the intention now, and getting more nuanced and clear. Do you want to give an example of what you've asked for?
Yeah, I mean, the most powerful transformation that I've been through was on my last vision fast, which was in California in the high desert. It was with the School of Lost Borders, and I went out there really to learn. It was part of the vision fast training, so we also learned about guiding, but most of it was really doing your own quest again and learning through that experience again. And it was my intention was my sentence, which they really like help you to get a concrete sentence, which I really like this firmness of it. And my sentence was, I am home in myself, and there are no limitations to my creative power. And it's just a sentence, but there's so much in there. Like, it is so powerful, and I'm still with this. It's still there, and it's still part of my process. But so much has shifted. Like after I came back, I actually manifested my wooden cabin here on the land, which I was already living here for 7 years, and I hadn't really made my home yet, like made my own little space, my sacred sanctuary to sleep and to retreat and to be, to work, to connect with myself. And yeah, that, like, somehow your intention, you don't even know what you're gonna receive, like, but you go and you know there's something in you that you need to change, and so many dimensions of my life have changed since then, like such profound level. And it really hangs together with realizing our own power of creation, like the what we think, what we say, what we put out there as an intention, it's heard, you know, and it comes back to you. And it's, if you get more and more clear in really what it is you want to put out there, how do you want to be of service and all these things, then you can really make that come true. Or the way you want to live, the way you want to have relationship, the way you want to have community in your life, and all these things that we're all kind of looking for. But yeah, and we also don't know, like, we are in a time we don't really know right now, no, how to do the things. We just kind of feel there's something, like the way we were told and the way our culture has been doing it doesn't work anymore, and we're just kind of looking for new ways of doing it, and we feel it in our hearts, but nobody has done it before us. So we have to be creative, and we have to discover our creative power, and to dream it first, you know. And that's also something for me. I think nature is also a dream space. It's like a magical area where you can go and let your imagination go wild. And And the good thing is that everywhere you look, you will see beauty, and you will see the laws of the universe, like the cycles of life and death. You see how things grow, and how things always are, how things, when they die, they always are food for something new, and all these beautiful ways of nature, they nurture our dreams. And yeah, I believe really, when people go into nature, they are creating their life. They have a space from where to create their life. So if we don't go, we kind of just continue how we're doing things, and we get lost. So yeah, I see that. I see the earth is a place to go to dream.
Yeah, the expansiveness of this. That's beautiful. Like, so your own dream, your own mission coming through in Sardinia, and then getting more and more clear, and then you're now on the land. And I definitely, from my own experience of you, this beautiful creativity, how you brought song and dance, and yeah. And so tell us, yeah, your offering of the farm and your work on the farm, and then how you are helping people to reconnect.
I'm gonna sit a bit more in the shade because the sun is hot.
Yeah, do.
So
you feel okay?
Yeah. My work is there's different parts of my work. So I really like to do different things, because I like many things. And I also feel that it's part of being sustainable somehow, like not doing always the same thing.
Yes.
And also a way of bringing different gifts that I have inside, and that I like to express,
Yes.
or discover or explore. So one of the things is education. It's spending time with children, creating space for them to be in nature and to be together in a very spontaneous and natural way. I just kind of invite the children on camps, little weekends on the farm, and they sleep in the yurt. And we just kind of spend time together. I use a lot of, I was part of the Scouts myself. So it was for me, it wasn't I kind of like think this is also a part of my life that saved me in my childhood. The fact that we went on camps, and we were able to experience community in a different way, and be wild and get dirty, and climb trees, and it was normal. It was allowed.
Yeah. And also the skill set, the awareness. I think Scouts was so foundational in that respect, and the confidence for a young person.
Yeah. And also the not only the connection with nature, but also the community, the working together. Like what we would do with the Scouts is to build up a village in the middle of the countryside where there's nothing, no buildings, no facilities. We would bring everything in a big truck and just build up a whole village in 1 week, and live there with 60 children of different ages, and young people guiding them. And it was magical, really. And making fire and learning how to cook your food, all these basic stuff, that's also things that now I want to bring again in. And they don't even have Scouts here, they have an amazing natural area here, but it's lacking, there's nobody offering really this kind of things here. So yeah, I want to bring that, and as well, of course, bit the more spiritual part, which I don't really name it like that, but like doing sharing circles, and it's not, I'm not even really teaching, but I'm just kind of doing stuff with them, and experientially they learn a lot, and they love it, really. And I also kind of, in this space, I also don't really limit the time. Like I don't tell them now we have to go to bed and stuff. Like they just kind of play till they just cannot anymore. And it's really cool. We play in the night.
Wonderful.
We take our torches and we go in the forest and play games, and it's so much fun.
That's super cool. Are they from the city, or are they people, or or from
No,
other
they are not from the city. They live around here in the countryside, and
yeah,
actually they're all also their parents are all kind of friends. Like they're part
yeah.
of our community, and yeah, they're also the parents are really happy with this because they also feel the lack of you know natural learning in the
Mm,
schools, so they
mm,
see it as a really positive thing that I'm offering this,
absolutely.
and for them also give them some free time when their kids are gone, and
Mm.
it's I love this. I love this.
Yeah, great for the parents. I read this. Came across Richard Love's work, Vitamin
Yeah,
N. Yeah, that's really interesting, isn't it? Like,
yeah. When I was young,
yeah.
I read that book, and I
Mm,
suppose it inspired me as well. And I felt that there's a need in society for these kind of spaces,
yeah.
and I've also from my own experience of mm, yeah feeling such a poor when I went to school, I just felt this lack of the things that I really love,
Mm, mm,
and creativity and spontaneous play and like challenging also our fears and stuff, like just taking the kids out and climb the rocks. Like
mm,
usually it's not allowed and it's dangerous and all this stuff, but I just kind of stretch these boundaries of
mm,
comfort also a bit, which is also
mm.
something that nature offers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Encourages you to do that. Yeah. Mm. And yeah, and tell me more. Yeah, tell us more about your offerings and the farm and the healing through music and drum.
Yeah, so music, yeah, that's another element. I mean, the farm is a bit, it's also really a community meeting place. So we've, me and Rekka, my partner, we've organized communal gatherings since 2013. I think we did it for 4 years intensively. We did every month something and get the community together and do workshops and, like create, weave networks with each other, because we felt otherwise we just live here on our own, isolated from the world, and in not like the city, we don't really have so much outer activities that are offered and stuff, so we kind of like felt, let's create it ourselves. And so music, it's always been a really important part of my life too, which I think it's part of nature, and it's a great healing tool since I think since always, like it's an ancient thing. Your music's always been part of culture, and making music around the fire with friends. But also now I also went into DJing and like using electronic music and world music mixed together into like celebration. And I really love to organize parties, and we've really done a lot of that together with people here and some other people who all really like to do that. So yeah, celebration of life, like it's also a place of connection when we bring musicians and talented people from the area together and to offer their gifts and offer really amazing food. My partner, she's from India. She makes delicious Hindu food, and everybody comes also for the food, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
and
right. It's all part
and
of
then yeah, and then dancing, just getting
great.
together and dance and connect from the heart level. So that's
Yeah.
another of the things I really love to create and do. And sometimes we've had like a team of 10 volunteers working together to put up a festival, and that was also really beautiful process of co-creation and playing in nature, like what I said in the beginning.
Mm, sounds really playful and joyful and celebratory. And do you eat in terms of the food what you grow your own?
So I've been 4 years long. Also, have been growing a lot of food, and then 2 years now I have taken a break from it because I had I hurted my back and I took too much things on me, which was also on another level. And I also wanted to focus on other things like developing the DJ thing and like working a bit, earning a bit money, because I was also many years like not so focused on earning money. Then I thought, okay, I also need some money, if I want to build my little hut and stuff like this, like to invest. to buy a sound system and stuff like that, a fan, which I did. Now again, I'm going back to the other way. Like now with the Corona thing, also it helped, I suppose, to stop some jobs of me, and I just kind of went back to the garden. It was the perfect moment. And now we're really co-creating a garden with Rekka, and it's super beautiful. I don't think it's gonna really give us food for the whole year or something, but it's gonna definitely bring part of it, and I look forward to it so much. Everything is growing beautifully. We use permaculture ways, but yeah, just kind of our own ways that we've learned along the time. And
I mean, community is so important to you, and in the sense of belonging in nature. And where do you think, like the conversations that the collective are having, and where do we need to? What conversations do we need to be having?
Yeah, I think that I mean, I was thinking about that question. I thought this I don't really know what conversations people are having. I see so much conversations and I hear, but I have the feeling what I hear is maybe very selective as well, because I don't really intermingle with many parts of the world, and different cultures, different subcultures, and different generations and stuff. So I believe that there's really right now so many conversations going on, but what I love is that they're going on. Like, I believe that the coronavirus crisis and the things that the climate change and all these like obvious signs of unbalance in culture are really creating new conversations. They're bringing conversations to the front or to the middle, to the center, that were usually on the edges, and that's great. Like, I can't really talk, so I don't really know, like, as I say, I don't really know what people are talking about. I live a bit isolated as well. But I read social media and I love what's going on. There's also a lot of
For example,
fear-based conversation going on, but there's also a lot of positive and solution-focused conversation. I think, yeah, that's a way how we could see it, that there's conversations going on based on fear and based on which is also normal, because it's a time of not knowing, and it's kind of like when we go out on a vision quest, we don't really know what's gonna happen, and it's scary. Like, it's going into the dark and not knowing what's there, what you're gonna come across, and as a species right now we're really going there. Like, really going there. We don't even know if we're gonna come back alive or not. Like, in the end, it's a scary moment, but at the same time, it's a moment full of opportunity and a moment full of possibilities of doing something different, and creating something else, which we are kind of like getting ready for that, I feel. And some people are really ready, like already for long, but not everybody. So it's a process, and I think it takes time, but the conversations are there, like, and they're becoming maybe even louder and louder. Yeah, they're
and the louder of what's really sort of taking your attention in terms of the positivity of that and the opportunity.
Yeah, the conversation about who we are, what we are doing here, what's our purpose, and how should we interrelate with each other, with ourselves, with the world, with the earth. We all kind of realizing that the ways we've been doing the things don't really work, and that we can't really continue, otherwise we will just kind of finish it all off, basically, and finish ourselves and our dreams and the possibilities. So I think that, yeah, the conversations, I think conversations are super important, because they are creating culture in a way, the stories that people tell. And so listening to each other, I think it's really one of the clue, one of the keys, because each of us has a little part of the vision, carries a part of the possibility, and having conversations is creating this is weaving, it's a kind of weaving this new way that we
Yeah.
all don't know how,
Yeah.
but we feel, and some people feel it
Oh, wow.
on a certain level, and others on another level. Some people may be more busy with health, or some people more busy with relationships, and some people more busy
Yeah.
with how to grow vegetables, or how
Yeah.
to manage homesteads and stuff like that, how to manage cities, and all these questions that we have right now, like how to do it.
Mm.
So I think, yeah, these conversations are important, and
Mm.
how can we live a good life, basically, in harmony and respect for all that is, and recover or reclaim also that creative power that I was talking
Yeah.
about before, that it's not just, something happening to us, it's something we are creating, and we can also change.
Mm.
So that we are creating it, it's for some people it's very hard, and they don't really want to see it, and they just blaming other people, or systems or something. But in the end, I think the true power is to realize that we are all part of the creation of it, of all the problems, and that we are in that way also, part of the solution. And I think
Mm.
for me, in my life, I try to focus mostly on those conversations, the
Yeah.
ones, the dreaming part, and talking about solutions, ways of where we focus on the things we can actually do.
Yeah, yeah, from our space, and that, and you're offering your big in terms of helping people really reconnect with that, reconnect with their own creativity and wisdom and
Yeah,
vision, and providing the space for that.
yeah.
Yeah. What there's something about in terms of, because of your your psychology background, and you do the cultures and the dip into the anthropological and the study, you talk about indigenous rites and ceremonies, and I think part of us, because is that finding our own Western way, uh, and how does that feel really authentic and non cultural appropriation, and just how do we step into that,
Hmm.
um, yeah, because we probably, as a as a Western culture, and I'm doing big generalizations, probably even more disconnected, uh,
Yeah, I think
way.
these conversations or voices are really important to listen to, the indigenous voices, um, the voices of the people who are living on the land and already have learned from this, and the people who are busy with permaculture, which is permaculture is, it's also a way of just like observing nature, and using the ways of nature for designing our lives. And you can use this for your garden or for your homestead, but you can also use it for designing your organization, or your business, or your family, or like more social parts of it. And it's, you can apply nature to everything, and in the end it is like nature is everything, we are nature. So one of the things I also think it's really important to see is that nature is not something out there. In the end, it's going into nature is not only going for a walk in the forest, but it's also really connecting with nature inside of us, because we're part of it, and we carry it inside. And so our life cycle, and when we wake up till we go to bed, we're nature evolving, really.
Yeah.
And there's so much wisdom inside of us, in our bodies, in our spirit, in our, like the longings we have, the intuition, the creativity, the ideas. I think that's also nature, and
Yeah.
like even, and that's really important, I think, also in, for example, people who are still kind of in confinement and things, and they're like, no, I cannot connect with nature because I cannot go out of my flat. And I think, no, you can, you are nature. So connect with what's nature in me, what's true, what's real, what's vibrating in me, and what's, which dream lives in me, and connecting with that will already, might turn your world upside down, maybe, if you've been living not a life that you really want to. But but it's so important right now to connect with that, because I think it's the only way we can actually have a good life, like have a happy and fulfilled life, to live in attunement with this nature that we are. And yeah.
So how do you encourage people to do that?
Yeah, well, like I think there's so many ways we can do that, and just kind of connect with the natural ways of things. And for example, also, what are you, like, for example, the food you eat, if you're gonna eat more chemical based food or industrial food, you're already disconnecting somehow. So you eat more natural foods, you're gonna be more connecting. When you also the part of honoring and being conscious of, like, for example, when you have a shower, that you remember, where this water comes from. It doesn't come from the tap, it comes from the mountain, and from the source. And to honor that, and say thanks for it, and connect with the energy that it carries, which is ancient. Meditate. I think meditation, meditation is a way of connecting to your inner nature. It's a way of becoming silent and um, stopping with our addictions and distractions, and just going within and connecting to the voice within, which you could also say it's the voice of nature, or it's the voice of our higher being, or the divine, or whatever you want to call it. But just become still. Yeah, listen to that. Listen to your inner conversations as well, like what we think we create. So yeah, this is one big practice, and I'm very busy with that, now, like really observing what am I thinking in any moment, because I can have many beautiful visions, but still sometimes maybe there's some, there's programming, and there's all this the automatic unconscious behavior and thoughts that just kind of bring yourself down, or sabotage your connection, or your happiness, basically. And yeah, observe them, and consciously choose, like, where do you want to go, which vibration you wanna yeah. So everything's vibration, no? That's also one of those things that just fascinates me, how everything's vibration. And so everything we choose to take up in our reality as part of, what is real, then it becomes part of it, really. So we can choose, we want to connect or disconnect.
Do you feel that everything's, vibrations? Do you embody that? Does that, or what helps you really
Yeah, I think I'm really
tune
sensitive
into
to
that?
it somehow. I think we all are. We all be sensitive to vibrations. It's easy, actually, if you feel good, there's a high vibration. And if you don't feel good, like you feel sad, or you feel anger, and all these things, that's you feel hate or guilt or shame, or that's low vibrations, no? So our emotions are an amazing way of reading, our vibration. And if we feel tired, and yeah, all these things, if you feel vibrant and creative, and it's kind of obvious, but it's all new in a way. We're all discovering this, no? Like, how can we lift our vibration? And
Yeah.
and at the same time also don't push away, for example, sadness or grief, like, I think these are also really important parts of being human. And for a long time, many things has been taboo also, no? Like death, and grieving, and being not feeling good. And I've noticed, if I allow myself to be it just kind of automatically flows away again. But when you push it away, it kind of stucks around, and you never really get balanced. Like you just, or feeling, yeah, you don't feel good, really. Like, you don't go there, but you also don't really get anywhere else.
The
Yeah.
sort of the non-judgment of that, or feeling, and feeling the both, and yeah, because but all our emotions and vibrations have got, have their gifts, haven't they? They've got
Yeah,
their,
definitely. And it's
um,
important to allow them, but
mm,
it's important also not to get stuck, like to just allow them to flow. And
yeah,
if we have fears, I mean, a lot of our fears are justified in some way. Like we are in a really scary moment of time, and there are really scary things happening in the world. So it's normal that there's many people who are really living in anxiety and fear. Um, the thing is to not get stuck in the fear, and look for ways to build your resilience, and to to find connection, because I feel connection, it's a medicine, it's the medicine for all these, for fear, for sadness, for feeling, because when you connect, you kind of don't carry it alone anymore,
mm.
you
And
know
when you say connect with yourself or others or nature or the community,
all yeah
there's
all of that
the reaching
all of
out to
that
that.
yeah, connect with nature. When you go to nature and you're sad, you you feel, you get carried, and your sadness is suddenly also the sadness of the tree, and the sadness of the 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 dying flower, and suddenly you're not alone, because you see that reflection, and you see that it's all part of something bigger, and that you are not alone. I think that the illusion of separation is
Mm.
creating the biggest suffering, because in the end we are not separated. It is just like we think we're separated or something. And that's why these spaces of connection, I think, are so important to create, because then people realize again they're connected. It's not even that they have to reconnect, they just have to realize that they're connected.
Mm. And that's
And
really,
and
yeah.
then and
Yeah.
then these feelings can flow.
Yeah. But nature,
Yeah.
we can naturally feel that. It reminds us of connection. But then
Hmm.
to go into actually attitudes and beliefs of humans that we don't, that jar, but they're also part of us, that's really something.
Yeah, yeah,
Connect with
yeah.
that.
There's the that's the shadow work, no, and really in every situation, when you start blaming, if it's your partner, or if it's the government, or the people who are unconscious, or only material, with material focuses, I think in the end, yeah, then you're always kind of diverting the attention from yourself, and what is it that I could do
Yeah.
better, or what is it that I could change to be a better person, no? And if we all would just kind of really do that, and really take our own responsibility, and go within and listen to these inner conversations, and shift that energy, because a lot of energy get lost like that, I feel. And I think it's, yeah, it's part of it all, no, like it's normal in some way to just kind of
Mm.
really see the injustice, and don't feel, happy with it, and kind of get angry about it. But at the same time, yeah, always going again towards yourself, and feel, okay, how
Mm.
is it that I could change something in my life, so that I don't contribute any of my energy towards that, no?
Mm.
And that way you give, that's the way you give the best example, you kind of take away your energy from fighting things, and just kind of create something different.
Yeah, going back to the creativity, because I think
Yeah,
it's both a huge responsibility, to take it on, and also liberating, isn't it? Because
yeah,
going back to your point of, we don't know, but if we touch into what is my heart, what is my activity, what's my vision, what's control the controllables in that respect. But yeah, and going from our own self and stepping into that, and the courage to step into that.
yeah, yeah. I have the feeling that also, a lot of these conversations about what's wrong in the world distracts us from really living our dreams, and just kind of doing it anyway,
Yeah.
like just really, like many people maybe didn't even think, what is my dream? And that's one of the conversations I love the most, like to ask somebody, what's your dream? And that opens such a new portal, like when people start dreaming. and then you just redirect the energy and start bringing your energy towards something you can create. And I think if everybody would start living their purpose, like really living their gifts and bringing them to the world, the world would look so differently, because we wouldn't even have a reason to be like angry at other people, or like we would just all be happy, right? Like I have the feeling that when we give our gifts, we are fulfilled. We don't need to go to shops to buy things, or we don't really need so many things anymore. So we don't really have to compete with others, so we don't really have to destroy the earth, so we don't really have to there's already abundance. I believe the real abundance is in everybody living their gifts and everybody bringing them to the world. And of course it's a process you have to overcome your doubts and your fears and your insecurities and all these, but they're so, like, it's so beautiful, this process. Really beautiful.
And it is the process, isn't it? It's the
yeah. And it's, I mean, we are also doing that right now. We're having this conversation. Maybe we've never done this before, and I mean, I've never done this before, and it's scary, and I get nervous and all these things, but it's the only way your message gets heard, like we have to do this. So we have to really put our voices out there and step out of our comfort zone and just kind of bring it to the world, and every time more and more, I feel.
I love that. Literally it is a parallel process right here.
And I wanna give thanks also to you for this space, because I believe it's so beautiful to be heard, that someone's interested in your story and listening, and even like offering this space to that other people can also hear it. And I think this is also one of our biggest tasks, to listen to the stories of the people and get inspired and see the possibilities, because every person's living is an example, of how it could be, how you could also live if you wanted to, and
the possibilities.
That's just kind of spreading it. So thanks for that.
Well, thank you for taking it up. And I love, because it's a lovely reminder, as I've just, done a few conversations, and thank you for being on that wave, that virgin wave. But the uniqueness, the individual uniqueness, but also the commonality of themes, those human things of fear and hope and creativity, and this intuitive about nature, and then growing into consciousness and the sense of journey. So there's some real, those are just real essentials, but this individual also, and expanding options for people and how they live their life in more harmony. So you're a beautiful example of that. I'm gonna
that's really my goal also, really to really follow my dreams and bring them into the world as a way of also inspiring others to do the same, not only for my own enjoyment, which is really big part of it as well, just to enjoy life and live it to the fullest in whichever way it's possible, and then at the same time also, in some way, by doing it, you kind of like give permission for others to do the same, like you open up the possibility that yes, we can, and sometimes, and maybe sometimes we have to break the rules and do things differently and go out of the normal accepted ways, or even even sometimes we don't follow the rules, like we kind of like we cannot, I believe we cannot, if we follow the rules, we're not going to create a new culture. We have to step out of that and be courageous, be wild, be new.
Lovely. And that newness every day, and also it just reminded me of you pushing the boundaries with the kids, stretching out of that, because we'll never know. And I was just sort of wondering if you've sort of really honored the bear cave in Sardinia. Have you ever returned to sort of say that you've honored that vision that you had?
I didn't actually. The only special thing about it is that actually when I arrived here in the area where I live, it reminded me so much of Sardinia. It's actually a very similar climate, and it's all full covered with olive trees, and the mountains are similar. They're like rocky and kind of dry vegetation, and it carries the same magic, this area, Matarania. So I haven't returned there exactly, but in some way I feel I arrived there somehow.
Yeah, exactly. It's all connected and lovely there. That's a beautiful cat. I'm just going to do a wee pause. Oh, that's lovely, Kat. And sort of, so just tell us, just a final wrap up and what you're offering on your beautiful land and what's going on for you, so people can, benefit.
So I want to invite people also, if they're inspired to come and visit here in Kurkum Farm, if they want to see what we're doing and get a glimpse of this little piece of paradise that we're creating and co-create with us. You're very welcome to contact us and check if there's an opportunity to work together. And also want to mention that together with my co-guide Lynn, we're offering a new vision quest here, like with a base camp in my home and the mountains just on the other side here, very close by. There's going to be a fast in the 22nd of September till the 29th. And so, the inscriptions are open just recently, and everybody who feels like it, very welcome to contact me if you have questions, if you want to participate. Just let me know. And further, I would just say, anybody who wants to contact me, just if you want to have more conversation, just be in touch.
Yes, so wonderful. Oh, thank you so much, Kat. And you did just a ray of sunshine, literally, and just really, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you. And so I'll put the links on the website, the episode, your website, and links, and how they can contact you, and various social media forums, and so they can come and have a great conversation. And one day I'll turn up there too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for turning up. And so we'll pause here and we'll see you back on the next Earth Converse podcast, and let us know what you think. And we want these podcasts to be meaningful for you, and go out and enjoy nature, and one conversation at a time. Thank you.